we go. We are recording. Carol just came in. So what you have to do is you have to share your screen from the bottom, right? And once you share your screen, you should have you put up your PowerPoint prior to sharing your screen.
Okay, in full?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In slide view, like play view, whatever they call it.
Play from start?
Yep.
Oh, I can't do that though. Because then when I play it from start, you're missing. I can't get to Zoom. So I'd have to, what I'm gonna have to do, I guess.
Yeah, you can just use this, not the full screen one. You can use the slide by slide one. You know, where you have the controls, just share your screen and then go through it. Everybody should still be on. Even if you share full screen, the Zoom should still be visible. You could try it now.
If I put it in full mode, Zoom goes missing.
It shouldn't. It should still overlay. Or what you can do is you can, where you can shrink the window to like 3/4, not fully minimized, like whatever it's called. Hi, Bonnie. It's fine, Bonnie. It's everybody enjoys the before party.
It's not a big deal. You know what I'll do is once I get on and I share my screen, I'll just put it into present. I'll just start the slide.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. And then when you're done, I can, if you need me to pop you out of it, all I have to do is hit share my screen and it'll jump out of yours.
Okay.
Okay. So we're obviously early. James Alba usually is in here already.
I cleaned up my desktop just in case anybody were to see it.
That's funny.
Because let me tell you.
Mine was a mess too. I had all these files from putting this together, and I rarely look at the desktop. I'm always working in, kind of the internet browser mode. And I looked at the desktop. I was like, oh my God. So in 5 minutes, I'll fire up the Facebook Live. We usually go live at 8:05, Christine, just to give everybody.
How's your daughter making out? She's home, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, she was working. They laid off everybody, so she just applied for unemployment. I thought they were going to keep paying them. She works for that was a Bath and Body.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
They kept paying them for a while, but then they stopped. They said no, which I'm surprised because the big companies, if they pay their employees, get even more money.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. So she'll make more money on unemployment than she does working.
Yeah.
Did you apply yet? Did you hear anything back?
Mm-mm.
Me neither. She did. She applied, I think, a week or two ago, and she still hasn't heard anything back. They must be so backlogged.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. I do know a couple people that filed though that are corps, and they got it. So I was like, hell yeah.
How long did it take them?
A couple weeks.
Oh boy.
I didn't do it right away because my accountant said you can't, but I think based on the circumstances, right?
Yeah, I was told that you weren't supposed to do it till the 10th, but I did it anyway. I mean, it's the 6th, so by the time they process it, it should be all good. So
yeah, it was crazy because I kept getting kicked off.
Oh yeah. Every time I had to go out and buy a new mouse because my mouse kept double clicking on stuff and set me back to the beginning. I was ready to like throw the computer out the window.
Who cut your hair? You did?
Me. Yeah. A barracks haircut, right? That's what we called them in the Marines.
I
Give yourself a
can't
barrack.
I can't tell on this green screen what it looks like because you keep disappearing.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I
It's a
told
little
you
short.
my daughter, when you called me earlier, my daughter was just doing my color.
It's good. You taught her young.
Yeah, well, she doesn't want anything to do with it.
Can't say I blame her.
She doesn't. Nothing. She's like, I just don't want to, I don't want this life. She doesn't like to talk to anybody. She just wants to play her music.
That's okay. She's an introvert and you're an extrovert.
Yep, that's true. Got that right.
My daughter is the exact same way.
Yeah. How's Steph?
She's hanging in there. She's going, we're all going a little batshit crazy, right? Being cooped up like this. It's getting a little old already. So,
I know.
at least, she's not like me. I'm so damn busy with this every night that, a few hours a day I'm on this and I'm taking care of clients and doing this. So I'm always busy, but she's like, I got to get out of the house. I got to do something.
Yeah.
Can only clean the house so many times, right?
Yeah, I know. My kids are such homebodies, let me tell you.
Oh, my daughter doesn't care. Her and her boyfriend, they could lay around, go to do their college classes online, and play video games the rest of the day.
Yeah, they
They're
don't
fine.
care, right? I know, it's that whole generation. It makes me like I could never do that. Although my mother would never let me sit on the couch for more than 5 minutes without putting a vacuum in my hand.
How's your family? Everybody good?
Yeah, everybody's good. Yep, I got engaged, did I tell you?
No, you did not. Congratulations. Wow. That was quick. When you guys are what, a year
2.5
together?
years.
Get out of here. God, it seems, and I remember when you first started dating, it seems like a year ago.
I know, that's
good.
because of all that crap we went through.
No, right? So, good. Congratulations.
Thanks.
The kids love them, right?
Yeah. Once this all goes out, we'll go to dinner together, you and Steph.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the kids like him.
How's he doing? Is he kind of staying low right now, working, or is he working, or just like
No, photographers are not. This isn't their.
Yeah, I figured.
No.
So we got a few people in here. Hey, Kelly, Cosimo, Carol, Bonnie, and Bella. Hey, everybody.
Hey,
I'm gonna
guys.
pop up the. What's it called? Facebook Live. Start getting some people on now. So we got interrupted last night by the Pope.
I know. I didn't see that.
Somebody's jumping on. Come on, Facebook.
Yeah, I think I have to increase my internet at home.
Probably. I mean, everybody's slow right now, right? So even with the increased speeds, it's slower than normal. Everybody's on the internet.
Yeah.
Not many people watch TV anymore. Everybody goes on the internet. So
yeah, all the televisions are streaming too. I was getting stuck though. Every time I went to talk, I was like.
Or like, remember that movie Max Headroom, that was the guy's name on there, Max Headroom. It's like a digital movie. Talked really funny, glitching. That's what it was like. Okay, we are live. And now we're on here. I don't like this background. I'm changing the background. Let's go on it. Let's go on the jet, Christy.
You look very smart. It changes your whole persona when you when you go in the jet.
How about that one? No, we don't like that one. How about, nah, too white. Too small. Another one. I like, no, that's not the one I like. Where the hell did it go? There we go. Let's be in a Veda commercial. There you go. That's the one. I like this one.
Now that's luxury.
It is, right?
Oh,
But
heck.
I'd like to hear it now. Notice there's a glass of scotch on the table too.
Where James? Oh yeah, I see it.
Oh, there is, but that's not mine. Mine is right here.
You can replace.
Wait, I'm being good. I'm recycling. Oh, can't see it. The damn green screen is wild. How it makes stuff disappear.
Yeah, totally.
The Super Bowl football cup, solo cups.
So listen, I've worn a different T-shirt every night, which I can do this for 60 days if I had to. And this one is for you, Zilinskii.
Oh, what is it?
It's PlayStation. If I would have had the Nintendo one, I would have worn it. But Nintendo didn't make T-shirts back in those days because you don't play around. All right, you're going right in. I'm gonna take care.
Going
of
deep.
That's it.
Going deep.
You should have wore your TED Talk T-shirt because I'm sure they gave you at least a T-shirt, or maybe they give you a mug or a sticker. What did they give you?
A T-shirt. I think I had to buy my T-shirt.
Let me see. Hey, Kelly, is my mic better now?
I
You sound a
don't.
little
See you.
muffled, James.
I don't see you on Facebook
Who, me?
or any of us.
Oh,
They
it's
were
on.
on there. It's live. Let me go in there. You might have to just refresh your screen, Kristen.
Oh, maybe here. Hey, Kel, tell me if that's better now. Okay, good. Yeah, it was on. It was on music because I rap during the day because I'm so bored. I just have to get it out of my system.
Here we are. We're live.
Huh.
Five
Why
comments.
can't I see it?
Got to refresh inside the group.
I don't know how to do that.
Got Delia, Ronnie, Laura, Bethany, hold on, Judy, Oscar Valencia is in there. Hey, Oscar, it went out. I promise you, it went out. Oscar is always with the emails. The link was posted also in our Facebook chat. Oscar, Brenda, hello. Allison,
Oh,
hello.
here.
Chris, hello. Aaron just jumped on. Cool. So as usual, we'll start at 8:05. Just want to make sure everybody's technology was up and running correctly, and it looks like we're smooth running right now. James, you got everything working on your side?
I always do. Come on, man.
Cool.
What's up, Patty? My pal Sue's in. Love Sue. I don't Sue. I apologize if I didn't say hi to you. I saw you pop into last night's call, and I meant to say hello, but I love Sue. Sue does a
I
great
saw
job.
Tina on here last night.
Oh, we don't care about her though. No, I'm only kidding. Hey, listen, I have to say, in all honesty, my very first seminar I did for Art of Business on retail, like my first real one for the Institute, Sue was on before me, and Sue's a strategy salon, so Sue and I both know Neil, and yada yada yada, and she gave me some like really good advice that I don't remember at this point. But Sue, if whatever the advice is, I'm here. My green screen and all my other stuff is set up, so whatever you did, you gave me the best advice ever as a mentor, so I appreciate it.
Oh,
That's my
really? Is that
my
so?
version of a TED Talk.
Is that so, Al?
I knew her before you, man.
Is that so?
I knew her before you. I knew Sue way before you.
Sue who?
Sue Burkholder in PA. Patty's psyched for you.
Hey,
Cool.
Andrew.
Hey, How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Like your hat.
Thank you. Honor the struggle. Derek has a different. Where's your hat, Derek? Suck the. What is it? Suck the mud.
Embrace the suck. No, embrace the suck.
Yo, Josh.
So I am officially announcing that this thing is over in less than 5 weeks. It's over, at least in New York City, because I am not.
I thought you meant our thing because I think we're
Oh,
booked
our
out
thing,
past-
our thing is forever. But I am not going to do any more hair. I did my wife's today. Back to the
That's why
salon
you're quiet all day.
where she belongs.
Yeah. I was talking to Derek earlier and my daughter was coloring my hair.
You know,
Oh, guess now I get to
mean,
do the wife's extensions. Oh, that's always a fun project. That's an 8-hour project.
yeah. I think we have better things to do. Jeez.
James, I love your screen in the back there.
Oh, thank you. I painted it myself. This is what we do after homeschooling. The kids, this was a finger painting project that actually went good for a change.
Josh is in. Hey, Josh. Catherine, Sally. Hey, everybody.
You guys should join my live tomorrow. I'm gonna teach myself how to do balayage on a mannequin.
Oh, I have to tune in for that. What time is that?
I don't know. Whenever I wake up tomorrow. You want to see a hot mess of what not to do? I'm gonna apply heat. I should do it like one of those tool shows where like they show you how not to do things. I'm like light it on fire with a blowtorch. I'm gonna put it under heat. We're gonna see what this mannequin's capable of.
I understand, James. It's preventing cruelty to Mannequin Week.
Yeah. They can withstand a lot of pain.
They can withstand. Get your blowtorch ready, man.
Yeah.
It's so
Hey,
funny.
Tina.
Tina, what's up, Tina?
Nikki's on Facebook. She just said, hey.
Tina Baker. Woo! Tina, I miss you, baby. Patty. Patty, you did great last night. I loved it. Hey, Nikki.
Nikki, Mary's on.
By usually 8:05. What time? We didn't start till like 8:15 last night. By
8:20.
the time everybody got on. Yeah. The Pope interrupted
The
us.
Pope sent his blessings. Did you get the email?
I did.
got
I
one.
did.
Yeah, shared it with you.
Everybody's coming in. Let's see what we got. Kelly pulled out her mannequins today. You know what? It's funny. We talked about that we had a staff meeting and we talked about, mannequin stands, mannequin heads. They're all at the salon. So I'm going to
The
pop
better
in
half of
tomorrow and ship them
the
out.
Alba family is watching.
Nice. You should put her on video downstairs. You see
Sounds
my
like a
nice
good
backdrop? You don't even want to know what's going on downstairs.
James, how old are your kids?
7th grade, 6th grade, and 3rd grade. So this homeschooling thing, like respect your teachers, but for my town, for my taxes, like I need an abatement. Like you got to give me some cash back because if this is going on for like 3 months, it's like that's just not happening, man. It's like
You need a teacher.
New
You need
Jersey,
a
they
teacher.
do all sorts of things, like for farms, all that they ought to do for homeschooling. Absolutely.
thank God my middle is my competitive gymnast, and she's like 7:30 in the morning. She's the first one on. She's the first one done, and she's really focused. My son is like playing Xbox while he's in math, and I'm like, dude, like it doesn't work that way. And my little one is like, she's the 3rd grade. Oh my God, is the absolute worst. She's it's like if TikTok and Snapchat decided to buy each other, she is that. and then you have to put her into math.
Hey,
I'm
Nicola.
waiting for Angela to comment on that one. So,
Well,
Christine,
my daughter doesn't go. She goes to a school without curriculum, so they don't have any kind of classrooms or anything like that. So since she's been home, I put her on an online schooling, and she doesn't know what the hell is going
and
on.
it's so funny. Where are you recording from? Are you in Concrete or are you in Bellworks?
I'm in the salon because the internet speed is higher here, and it won't go out. At home, it was freezing.
You're in Red Bank, right? At the Red
Yeah.
Bank salon?
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought so. Cool.
Brought to you from downtown Red Bank.
Yes. You got to
Nice.
come visit, Andrew.
Okay. If they let me out of this place, I will come visit.
Yeah, let's see. I hope that's soon.
Yes, before the Roots show. No regrowth sets in here. No.
Nope.
Nope.
I know this is all going to get extended out even farther. So I'm really happy that you guys are on. Listen, there's a lot of adopters that have been on every single night, which is awesome. But I can't wait till May 1st when we're still stuck here. It's going to be like everybody's beard. Poor Andrew's going to have a beard too. We're going to be standing here like the conversations are going to get like when they're shipwrecked. It's going to be like Castaway.
By the
Exactly.
way,
We'll start talking to volleyballs.
beards and facial hair. My wife had me read the disclaimer on the masks. Not so good with beards and facial hair.
I wear a full-on helmet when I go to the grocery store. Like a motorcycle helmet with a filter built in, and I don't even own a motorcycle. But I will tell you this, after this is done, I am definitely buying a motorcycle. I'm just going to park it at the end of the driveway. I'm not even going to drive it just to say that I actually have one. Just to,
Go for it. Hey, someone has one. Want to buy?
Oscar, by the way, that's hysterical. Oscar said I kicked mine off the third floor at Cosmo School 3 times.
Oscar hit his mannequin head with a brick.
We are.
He got the name of his
The mayor
company.
of Chicago got a haircut.
So somebody just said, did you guys see the mayor of Chicago got a haircut? She needs to go back and get a new haircut. What a hot mess.
Yeah, that was on fire on the internet today. That was like
I know, it was.
Hey, Rodney.
Rodney's great. Love Rodney.
I know, Dean. I saw that where she defended her haircut, which
Don't you love the arrogance? I'm a public figure, so I can do it. And you,
yeah,
and
but you know
can't.
Excuse me?
it's true. But what's funny is I want to know who the reporter was that asked her the question about it, because that's the person we should get on this. They
Oh my
should
God!
get
You
on
know that
because-
you know that reporter's gonna be slammed, right?
right?
It's like asking Trump how where his tanning lotion comes from.
Hey now.
Hey man, it's all good. We got to have a little fun here.
Hey, listen, you have to figure, like, imagine having that job if you're the guy that has to spray Donald Trump. Like, I don't care where your political views are, but I'm sure that he's not like, he's got like a Speedo on and with his little
It's
eye.
like,
You got to
what
spray.
the hell was that movie? Not with Michael Douglas. I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. What the hell is his name? He's so much older. He's laying on the bed nude and he's got the computer open. Oh shit! One of the old actors too, not the Douglases. It'll come to me. But that's the poor guy who's got to put up with that, right?
Yeah, that's a meme waiting to happen. I'm gonna have to work on that tomorrow.
Bonnie
Yeah,
asked
no
us,
doubt about it.
can I see all the comments and other people if I go to Facebook Live?
Andrew, Nula says hi. She's on Facebook.
Hey, Nula.
The answer to Facebook Live is yes, you can see the comments. On here, you can participate by doing the chat and or Q&A. So it's up to you, your choice.
Yeah, Bonnie, if you have a second device, If you go to the Salon Owners Mastermind group, so if you're on your computer with the Zoom call, go on your phone or your iPad, and if you go to Salon Owners Mastermind, we're live already, so you can jump on there. Just turn the volume off on one. Zoom is going to be first, Facebook is second, so there's a little bit of a delay. But like in my setup, I keep the Facebook comments up on the side, so I don't pay attention to the Facebook video because we're on the Zoom call. So whatever works best for you.
That's exactly what I do. And the phone works better than an iPad if you're watching Facebook Live. So with that, we're going to wait. It's 8:08. We'll wait a couple more minutes. There's still people rolling in. So we always like to get the maximum participation prior to going live. We had 68 on Facebook and 55 on here. That's a good crowd. We should be about 150 at some point. So we are ready when you are. What Steve said. I too don't get Zoom invites. I can't take. You guys are painful, Steve. I send emails to everybody. It's posted in a group and it's posted in our private chat.
Oh boy.
I'll make sure they get.
That's Chicago,
Hey,
Steve? Is that Chicago, Steve?
Yeah, Steve. Check your also your spam mail. They might be going in your spam. If they are, then just white label it.
I know,
Just say not.
Maybe
poor Steve's been on calls for like days right now. I
No,
saw
all of them.
like
All of us.
keep getting
You
notifications.
gotta give people a little slack. Come on.
No, I know. All these educators, though, I mean, it's been grueling for all of us. It's like every day, multiple calls all day long. It's and it's a good thing. I mean, this is our time, right? It's our time to try and help fix the industry. So suck it up, right, Andrew?
Right, Derek.
I got to tell you though, it's funny that Christine and I have known each other. Christine was a trainer, and my wife had taken classes with her a bazillion times over the years. But we've been friends for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years now. And I've never taken one of her classes. We've talked a lot about some crazy ethereal subjects, salon industry wise, but I'm kind of excited. This is my first real Christine Zilinskii class.
The newbie. You're a newbie.
All righty. All right, Christine, we ready to rock this thing?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start by telling everybody who the heck I am.
I'll introduce you, and then we'll get this thing rolling, okay? So, hey guys, everybody else, mute their mic. Andrew, James, let me just get you guys muted. There we go. Okay, welcome to tonight's meeting of the Beauty Business Reset. Tonight I have the honor to have Christine Zilinskii on, a dear friend of mine, also a TED Talk participant. I guess you'll call it participant, yes, or just a lecturer. I'm not sure, but that's a pretty big title to have. So Christine and I have known each other for quite some time. I've coached Christine. Christine's helped me through some issues. Love her, and she's just the best. So with that, let my Jersey girl get started and kick it off, Christine.
All right. Hi, everybody. It is so good to be here. Like Derek said, Derek has helped me such a great deal, and I'm very honored to be part of this summit along with a lot of the other presenters. I have a story that I'm going to show you in slide view, so help me stay on track. And but I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, and I've been a salon owner for 20 of those years. I started my career at Vidal Sassoon in the early 90s with a lot of people you probably know, Gerard Scarpacci, Nuala, who's here, Nick Arrojo, Nina Arrojo, Lena Arrojo, and DJ Muldoon, all of those guys, Tracy Sakasitz, we were all apprentices together. And what I love about this process, especially what we're doing now, is giving back to each other. And that's pretty much how I was born and raised when I came from Sassoon. That's what their whole culture was about. And so about 20 years ago, I opened Salon Concrete. And at that point, I was a new salon owner, had not a clue what I was doing. And I started working for and with strategies. And I really listened to everything that Neil Dukoff had to say. And I think that might have been where I met you, Andrew. And I was part of the strategies culture for a number of years, probably about 7 years. I went through the skill certification program, I think twice, maybe even 3 times. So many, yes, it takes a lot. So I was one of those people that did not want to participate with the numbers. I was a full-on creative, and I resisted it all the way. And I remember, we're going back to it was my first year I had Salon Concrete, or maybe my second, and it was 9/11 had hit. And the weekend after 9/11, I was very few people at that time were getting on an airplane. And I went to Chicago and I took Neil's incubator course. And a very good friend of mine, Debbie Elliott, got up and she shared with the entire room what she had done based on understanding the systems and processes of her business and the profit and loss and cash flow. And I could remember it was when I first opened my company, and I didn't really have any employees except for one. I was going to grow my company one by one. And I was there by myself, and I was in a room with maybe 100 or more salon owners. I can't remember exactly how many were there. But I could remember being so intimidated at that time and thinking, I really don't know anything about what I'm doing. And I don't even know how I'm in the room. And actually, now that I think about it, Nuala, who is on this feed right now, who is one of my very close friends, sent me an envelope in the mail. And she said, I really think you should sign up for this. And I did. And I signed up. And at the end of that 4 days of numbers, and at the end of those 4 days, I went in the back and Neil launched his coaching company. And that was the first coaching company, the first one he started. And I can't remember how much money it was, but it was, at the time, being a salon owner that just opened their doors, any amount of money was a lot. And especially for something that you were going to learn about numbers, because remember, I was a creative. I just really wanted to cut hair. And let's say it was $10,000 for the long term to get your certification. And I did that for several years, I think it was every quarter for 4 days. And I tell you this because if most of you are on the call, are resisting numbers and are afraid of change and are sometimes a little bit skeptical about investing in yourself, that is pretty much how I started my salon ownership, was completely and 100% investing in how it was going to become better. And today I'm going to talk to you about finding opportunity in these challenging times. And really what I want to talk to you about is, if I hadn't said yes to myself, and if I hadn't invested in myself, I wouldn't be prepared for what's happening today. And along the way, we all have to take the time at some point or another and many times it comes when we have to just surrender and other things happen, chaos happens and crisis takes over and it causes us to surrender sometimes. And then we have to find opportunity in other ways, sometimes that we don't realize that we're going to. So I started that off with that opportunity that I took at that time. I had no idea really what it was going to bring me. But I trusted it and I did it. And it changed, it made me aware of so many other things. And so I'm gonna take you through a little bit about my history and some real big failures along the way and some challenging moments that have helped me to raise my level of awareness and that have enabled me to have the belief and the faith in myself that has taken me to places I've never dreamed of being. So I'm gonna share my screen, Derek, right? Yeah.
Just at the bottom, the green share screen, Christine. There you go. Perfect.
So I'm gonna read a quote to you that really stands out to me first, and it's, "With every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success." And I've had a lot of failures along this journey. And I will tell you that there is a big success that I know is waiting in the wings for me and has already, part of it has already come. And so if you're not familiar with this quote, I would really say, hold on to it, because it's one of the things that really allows me to have faith in this journey and sometimes embrace the challenges along the way. So adversity and crisis are happening all the time. This picture is a difficult picture, believe it or not. I look really happy. But what I'm trying to do at this moment is to make my dad feel better. In 2014, my dad was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And that was the day that they told him. And I bring this up to you because I think that we're in a really challenging time, but I want everybody to realize that this time is all the time. And I see it all the time in the salon. You know, I know many of you have been through challenging times. I've been through divorce. I've been a single mother for 15 years. So I've had the salon for 20 years. I've been a single mom for all of that time. And there has been some major challenges along the way. And this might seem like, you know, the worst thing that ever happened to me, because my father was one of my biggest believers. He was always my number one fan and rooting for me all the time. But one of the things that happened when my dad got sick was I chose to eliminate a lot of unnecessary things in my life so that I could focus on what was necessary at that time. And what was necessary was for me to be grounded. At that time, I was traveling a lot with Davines. I was on the road, you know, probably every other weekend for years. And I really got quiet and I started to do a lot of reflection. And what I realized was I have to think about what is essential. And so I challenge you at this time is to think about what's most important in what's happening at this very moment. And think about really the good things that are going to come of this. I was having a casual conversation with my daughter today as she was coloring my hair. And she said, "Mom, I think the Mother Earth likes what's happening to us right now." And I said, that's interesting that you say that. And she said, yeah. She said, I bet you the earth is embracing what's happening. And that's what I mean by sometimes just being aware of different things. And she's 17 years old. And to have that perspective that, you know what, this is really bad, I'm trapped inside, but there is gonna be good that's gonna come out of this. So at this time, I found some of the greatest opportunity. This was when I decided that I was going to really pour into myself. My dad got sick, and it was time for me to make some really big changes. And so I knew that I had to get out of my comfort zone. And let me tell you something, I am deathly afraid of heights. And if you see that little person up there on the top of that pole, that's me. And you do not see anything that I'm jumping to, because there is a bar that they're about to throw me at, and then that I have to catch and jump off. And this is one of the obstacle courses that I went on when I was about to take this leap of faith into a new direction in my career. And I took this course at the time because I knew that I had to prepare myself for what was going to be a difficult journey. And one of the things that I did was I was away from the salon for a big part of my dad's sickness, and I wasn't the type of leader that I probably could have been or should have been, or, you know, I was human, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I lost some team members. I was no longer traveling with Davines at this time, and I decided that one of the things that I really wanted to do was invest in myself and become a better leader. And so I joined the John Maxwell team, and I could remember when I went to my first seminar, and Tina, who is actually in this thread on Facebook, she just said hello, and Tina was actually one of the people that I first spoke to. And she told me how much this process was changing her life, and that the investment that she made in herself was an investment that has changed her trajectory of everything that she does. And I remember when I went to my first seminar, and now remember 20 years or 18 years at the time of being completely embedded in our industry. I never did anything outside. I was at Strategies. I was doing everything. I worked for Vidal Sassoon. I was working with Angelo Seminara in Italy, doing a lot of really incredible things. But one of the things that I realized as I worked my way to this so-called top, there was an emptiness inside of me that I couldn't fill. And there was this part of me that said, I'm teaching people how to cut hair, but there's a piece that's missing. Like, I continually felt that I wasn't teaching them enough, that there was still something that was missing. And I knew that for myself, there was something missing. So I got out of my comfort zone. I jumped into this new sort of family, so to speak. And I had no idea what that looked like. It was just time for me to jump and go. And what I realized was the problems that I was having in my business, even though I knew the numbers, the challenges that I was having in my business were me. And I heard so many people get on here, Steve and Neil in the beginning, he talked about, you know, understanding your numbers and cash flow. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit from a different perspective, because I know how to build a cash flow. I know my numbers. I know how to understand a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. But there was something that I didn't realize. And what I didn't realize was that all of that was tied to my self-worth. And the challenges that were underlying in my business were because of the areas in my life that I hadn't cleaned up. And so I had a divorce that I didn't forgive. I had staff that left in not a nice way that I didn't forgive. All of these things were connected to my profit and loss statement, but I really didn't understand how. So what I realized is, if I want to grow my business, and if I want to be a really good leader, I really have to understand how I'm going to grow me. Because I am what's driving the business. And I did invest. And so I did take all of those workshops with Neil to understand the profit and loss statement. And when we were starting, Andrew said, it took a while. And it did. It did take me a while to understand the numbers, but what I have to tell you is, this is a really important message for me to get you to understand, is sometimes you could know something, but there's a gap between the knowing and the doing. And there lies a very deep, deep process. Sometimes it's not always easy to go from here to here. There is a process that we have to go through, and we have to dig. And it's not easy, and it's not comfortable. So what I realized is, when I started studying the book Think and Grow Rich with one of my mentors, he studied this book for 25 years. And the title of the book made me cringe. So I knew I had a money problem. And I didn't want to read the book because it said Think and Grow Rich. And I thought, well, I'm not money hungry. I don't want to read that book. So right away, and you know, my mentor, Paul, he would call me out on it and say, you know, you have a poverty conscious mind. So what does that mean? It means that I really wasn't accepting and receiving wealth. And so I'll read to you, the law of compensation is the need for what you do, the ability to do it, and the ease with which you can be replaced. And I read that to you because, from a leadership standpoint, I didn't really, from a haircutting standpoint, I lived that. But from a leader standpoint, I didn't. And so I had a money issue, and it wasn't understanding the money that was in the way. So I ask you a question. what do you see from your level of awareness? Do you see victim? Do you see not good enough? Do you find yourself comparing yourself to others? Do you feel lack? Do you feel like it won't work? Do you feel like it's too hard? Maybe you feel like you're not smart enough to run a multi-million-dollar company. Maybe it's easier, you think, for somebody else.
Hey, Christine, let me ask you something really quick. And I'm only saying personal experience because we've known each other a long time. All of these points that you put down from an awareness perspective, you know, you had mentioned a lot about being a creative in the salon industry and where you thought that gap was in between. Do you think a lot of salon owners that are doers and have a great vision and really want to do great things, that these are things that they go home? So if there are staff members on, and I'm only saying because my wife is in the business and we do different parts, but that from the staff perspective and what things look like on a day to day, that they go home and struggle with these things. So maybe staff doesn't understand that when the day closes and you shut the lights and you lock the door, that owners are going home and struggling with these things besides the actual payroll and those kind of things. Do you think that's something that speaks to like kind of reuniting the community of people in the industry?
I think everybody feels this way. If that's what you're asking, I don't think it's a salon owner thing. I see my staff struggling with the same issues. And I feel that I think Patty said it yesterday, and one of the things that she said is money is a result. And money is a result, for sure. Money is a spiritual transaction. And I know that sounds weird to say, but it is. It's a give and take process. And it is from a giving perspective and adding value to people's lives. And all of those things are true. It's the spiritual transaction. But if you are not of spirit, of worth, you're stopping the flow. So yeah, it's definitely from a salon owner standpoint, but I think it's a human standpoint. I think that a lot of people, including myself, and these are the things that I struggled with. You know, I had, I have and I'll get to a mold allergy, but I had a learning disability when I was a young kid, and I have dyslexia. So I always had a challenge thinking that I wasn't smart. And it wasn't until 2014 when I saw my mentor, Paul, on the stage standing in front of 3,000 people talking about his stuttering issue and how he was a high school dropout and he's a multimillionaire. It wasn't until that moment I saw a woman right after him stand on the stage in front of 3,000 people talking about her dyslexia and how she was afraid of becoming a business coach because she had dyslexia. It wasn't until then. And that's when I realized, wait a second, I have this issue. I have dyslexia. I don't think I'm smart enough. But the interesting thing is, I did work for Vidal Sassoon. I did cut hair really well. I did travel to Italy and work with Angelo Seminara. I did all those things. But I carried this around with me all the time. And it was a pain that I constantly struggled with. And that pain is real. And for a lot of people, that pain is real. So I don't know, James, it's a great question, but I think every single person struggles with this in some way, shape, or form, because we all have past experiences. So I choose to be rich. And I choose to be rich in so many ways. I choose to be rich in vulnerability. I choose to be rich in self-leadership. I choose to be rich in communication. I choose to be rich in growth. I choose to be rich in mindset. I choose to be rich in giving, in relationships, and I choose to be rich in love. And I never, ever thought that this was important. And when I realized how important it was, is when I was creating a life wheel in a goal setting workshop. And I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. So I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and I remember I did this whole life wheel, and there were a lot of pieces that were missing. It was lopsided, and a lot of the pieces that were missing were I have a very big, beautiful family, but I didn't spend time with them. I didn't have a love relationship because I didn't take time for it. I didn't know how to show up as a loving leader because I felt like I had to be somebody else when I showed up. So what I realized is riches first have to show up in your heart, and then they'll show up in your pocket. And they all start with you. So I said, thankfully, I prepared those years for this time. And Derek's laughing because he knows what this is about. And in 2 years ago, I bought a home. And I bring this up because we're talking about adversity, and we're talking about finding good things and opportunity in challenging times. And 2 years ago, I bought a home, and I was myself and my 2 daughters, and the house had toxic mold, and it had a big leak in it, and it was a nightmare. I was on the phone with Derek through this whole process, and it was really challenging. The biggest challenge was I bought it 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, so I was homeless from a week before Thanksgiving until the middle of January. So that means that through all the holidays, I slept on my brother's basement floor with my 2 kids and my sister's spare room. And I would drive an hour and a half to work. And at the same time, so imagine this, at the same time that this was happening, I was building a second location. And I had invested all my savings into a location, and I was losing everything. And I had hit my financial low because I had to live someplace else. I had to get a home. So I had 2 mortgages that I had to pay for a year and a half. Because I have a very severe toxic mold allergy that I found out when living here, I had to throw every single thing I owned away. So this picture is a dumpster and my belongings, because I had to take everything and throw it in the garbage. I was stressed, but I didn't get rocked. I didn't fall over. And I'll tell you the only reason why I didn't fall over is because I was prepared. And I was prepared because I invested in myself. I was prepared because of the new level of awareness that I understood prior to this happening. So I would have never been able to come out of this sane, to be honest with you, if I hadn't had that journey. So you can't weather the crisis storm unless your roots are deeply planted in the ground. So I'm going to give you four pillars that have helped me to plant my roots really deep in the sand. And one is strengthen your desire. Now, become clear on your dream and feed your unconscious mind. I say that because our mind is on a default to negative. Our mind is on a default to past. Our mind is on a default to who the hell knows what it's telling us half the time. It's on automatic pilot past. And you have to feed it new information. And you need to become clear on the direction that you want to go. So who do you want to become? My goal at this time was to open Bellworks. And this was my dream board at the time. I made this about a year or 2 years prior to what I just talked about. I had a home on here. This identity thing at the top was being a TEDx speaker. And then at the bottom where there's a building, this Bellworks, that was opening and I planned it out. And I do this every 3-6 months. I take it out, I tear it up, and I put it back. And then I constantly am envisioning the direction that I want to go. So my goal was to become a speaker and open Bellworks. And at the time when all of those things, when crisis was happening around me, is when I had to really become stronger and clearer and more precise. It wasn't like now when I didn't have the leisurely of time that we have now in this crisis. In this crisis, you could be home in your house and you could be cutting up magazines and pulling down Pinterest and dreaming. I was in the middle of chaos. And what I needed to do was I needed to find the time to become so clear at the direction that I wanted to go. And I had to, your desire is like a flame, and you constantly have to feed that. So a man's consciousness is that he thinks, desires, a man's consciousness is all that he thinks, desires, and loves, all that he believes is true and consents to. So that's why a change in your consciousness is necessary before you change your outer world. So this is so true, because you really have to understand that you have to feed your desire, because otherwise it will default to fear. It will default to past experiences. So number 2, 3 life-changing habits that I will not go through a day without doing. That's reading, meditating, and journaling. And ideas come when we quiet our mind. Your mind needs new ideas. New ideas come from thought leaders. They come from people that you don't know. They come from people that you're not used to listening to. They come from books you're not used to reading. Journaling, last summer, I took a week-long course on a course called Thinking Like Leonardo da Vinci. And it was a course on just creative writing and thinking. And what really came out of that was you really don't know what's inside of you. Because most of the time we don't take the time to actually sit quietly and think our own thoughts. So now is the perfect time to adapt a new habit and to allow new ideas to take place. So this is a little diagram that I put together that kind of helps you understand a little about maybe where your ideas come from. And if you see this little cloud over here, and it doesn't matter what you believe. If you believe that there is a higher power, I believe in God, you could believe in whatever you want, source, universe, however you want to play it. But your ideas are coming from somewhere and someplace. And when you get quiet and you allow those ideas to come through, you will be amazed at what your capabilities are. And many times I have found in the past that I have looked for other sources for ideas. I've looked at, other people, and I try to compare myself to people, and I don't do that anymore. Because I realize unless I'm intentional about going somewhere for inspiration, I'm going to be more intentional about spending time with the greater source and with a place that I know ideas are living.
Hey, Christine, question that came in, and this is right on topic, which doesn't happen often on our calls. How much time do you, and journaling is great. I know, I'm sure a lot of stylists on here and a lot of people in the beauty industry would love to do that and sketch and draw and things. And we've never had this opportunity in this crazy environment like we do now. But what do you think is a good amount of time to spend journaling or to write down these ideas? I mean, is it something as easy as 5 minutes? Does it have to be an hour? What's your best? Because you are the expert at this. This is your thing.
I think it's different for everyone. I think that's a personal thing. If you ask me how much I spend, I usually am up between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. So I'm unlike most people. But this is a study for me. It's not I just have to get up and get it done. This is an area that I have really loved and have really spent a lot of time studying. And so I would say a half an hour maybe to take some time to read, journal, and do a quick meditation. And I think a lot of times what happens is people get caught up in this, I don't meditate, I can't sit quietly. And if you would just be quiet. You don't have to do anything other than that. Just sit in silence and just be okay with being with yourself for just a few minutes. You'll be surprised at actually what comes down on paper. It's pretty interesting. I've really, I've been in awe myself as to what has come out on the paper. So
Yes.
and the answer is, go ahead.
I can testify that you get up at 4:30 in the morning and you do send messages after you have these enlightenments.
Yeah, it's I do. I really don't sleep that well. So, and I'm sorry if I text a lot of you there on this.
Christine and I might as well be pen pals, right? Because she's up super early in the morning. I'm up super late at night. We'll send text messages, and it's like a full day and a half that goes by. It's like we might as well send smoke signals about ideas, but we still keep it all glued together. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So this little diagram over here is really important because this it talks about your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, and it talks about that your conscious mind is thoughts that you know you're aware of thinking, so that's your reasoning mind. Your unconscious mind is your mind that is where from 0 to 7, if you didn't know this, from 0 to 7, you are a hard drive. It is when every thought has entered your mind and you were unaware at this time that you've actually gained a perspective of the entire world from that point of view, from 0 to 7. So you do not have a reasoning mind at that time. So you cannot reject maybe your parents had a bad relationship. You can't say at that time, no, I don't want to receive this information. I'm rejecting this information. You do not have the capability. So whatever happens in your environment, it is living in your unconscious mind. So that's why reading, that's why being inspired, that's why being around great people, that's why your environment is so important right now. And especially at this time when you have time, use it. Fill your unconscious mind with the thoughts that you want to receive. So, are you filled with resentment, anger, insecurity, and jealousy? Do you feel those feelings? Then fill yourself with gratitude, belief, hope, and passion. Those are the feelings that are going to counteract those areas. What comes in must come out. So, what thoughts are you planning? And I like to use this sort of metaphor of a garden because I feel like you can, it's really evident when you see your awareness and when you really understand your perspective of things. And that victim thinking is, what are you thinking? And I always think of your mind as a garden. And what seeds are you planting so that when you're ready to harvest those seeds, you've got good crops. You know exactly what you're going to do. Just like I said, in your desire and your goals and setting your goals, you know what those plans are. Your seeds of thought are feeding your belief in yourself. So Derek mentioned that I did a TEDx talk, and this was a very challenging time that I was doing this. I had a lot going on, and like I mentioned, I was feeding myself thoughts of I'm not smart enough. But I surrounded myself with a lot of amazing people. I joined an amazing leadership group, and everyone in that company really taught me to understand what voice I was to listen to and really how to feed my faith. And so my belief at the time when I started this journey was, I'm not smart enough. I can't do this. And as I really started to be around the right people, I started to understand there's a word that I really started to pay attention to, and it was discernment. And so I ask you, do you know what voice is your power voice? And we all have these two voices. We all have this one voice inside of us that says, you're not good enough. And then we have this power voice that says, you can do this, you can speak, you have a message to deliver. But that didn't come, and this is really important to understand, is that did not come with not battling that other voice. And that other voice didn't ever go away. So if you're looking to do something new, or you want to build your business to a place that you've never built it, but you're waiting for that voice, that small voice inside of you to go away, it's never going to. You have to do it afraid. Everything that you need to do from this moment forward is doing it afraid. And as my mentor says, build your wings on the way down. So the way to feed your faith is to move your ass. That's how you feed your faith. Because I think of it as you're either sitting in a lake and you're seeing the same scenery over and over again, or you're going down a river. And when you go down a river, everything changes. So unless you build momentum and unless you move your ass, you are not going to feed your faith. You're going to feed your fear. So now is the time. So number 3, imagination. So as I was losing my home, I was in the process of building this other location. And one of the things that I've learned about imagination is really your imagination is like a muscle. And it's building your future memory. And a lot of times what happens is we sort of look backwards. We think about our future through our past lenses. And we think to ourselves, well, I've done that before, it's not going to work. Or if you're like me, you might go to your mother and talk to her about what you should do in business when she's never had a business. So these things and the people that you surround yourself are really important. So build a memory of your future. What does your future self look like? Who do you need to become in this process of your desire? So it's not about who you are right now. It's about imagining who you are to become. And that means, who are you being today? So if we think about that, if you have a desire to be a great leader and you're in the middle of chaos and you're in the middle of crisis right now, how are you being a great leader in this moment? How are you showing up right now in this moment? Because it's not about who you're going to become tomorrow. Your imagination needs to happen today. And then imagining living that out tomorrow. So imagination is so important. Your mind does not know the difference between reality and your imagination. And that is the truth. So your real mind, your unconscious mind, does not have a clue. What you feed it, it will believe. So feed it who you want to become.
Hey, Christine, how important is that right now? I mean, I know a lot of salon owners and people in the industry are so, we were sort of hit with, no offense, Oscar, we were hit with bricks, but not your kind. I know Oscar's on the call. Um, but how important is that now for that reflection and how important it is to get that imagination component? And I know you're an adopter of this and you've been a mentor in that respect to a lot of people, including myself. Does it take time or can you do it instantly? Is it, sometimes I know people in this business think that things take so much time to set up and to, you're talking about reading books and different things that are a little bit overwhelming sometimes when you're worried about other day to day. But I feel that you can do this like in 5 minutes. Like you can start this process and say, hey, I flipped the switch and I'm ready to go. What's your thought on that?
Well, you can. I mean, you can definitely flip the switch and use your imagination. I mean, we all have imaginations. If you can close your eyes and imagine, a ball, a red ball, then you can imagine. So it is as easy as that. I think what the difficulty comes and it lies in places the persistence that one has to continually use it, because it's just like anything else. If you take this information and you just put it on the side, it's not necessarily going to work. But it's just like anything else. If you if you create a cash flow once, but you never look at it, it doesn't work. If you learn how to do a haircut and you only learn how to do it once, it's not going to be a great haircut over time. So anything that you feel like is worth the effort, you got to do it. So none of this is really going to come easy. But right now, I believe that this is one of the most important things, because if you're home right now and you're not imagining what your business is going to do when you go back, and the business that you're going to have, and how your employees are going to show up, and how everybody's going to come together, and the community that you're going to build, then what do you have? This is all part of the process of being creative and planting the seed so that you could be successful when you return. So that's it. My message is to help people bring their dreams from abstract to concrete reality. And that's all I got, guys.
Christine, that was awesome. I have a whole bunch of questions to ask you.
Okay.
And I have a couple things that you and I have experienced together over these last couple of years, right? Number one, I want to congratulate you on your engagement.
Oh,
Christine just got engaged. Hey. Show that rock, Christine. Go ahead, show it off.
Oh, it's made out of concrete.
Okay, so we had a question from Sharon. Sharon, and I know the answer to this, but I want your answer, Christine. What ideas in your 4:30 moments? Thank you, Christine, for those calls. How do you decide on what ones to take action on?
Say that again.
So she wants to know, when you're having these ideas, what ones out of all the ideas, how do you know which ones to take action on?
So usually, that's a great question, by the way. What ones do I know to take action on? I would have to say that one of the things that I would do is, if I was contemplating an idea, I would sit with the idea and I would do a couple meditations on the idea. And I know because of experience that I usually don't have a challenge with trying to discern. It will come to me over, I would say I would take a couple days, meditate on it, journal. And one of the things that I always think about when I'm discerning between one area and the other is I look at things through the lens of fear and love. That's kind of how I discern. And I think to myself, if I go this direction, is this going to bring me more love? Am I showing up in love? Am I showing up with compassion? Am I showing up with empathy? Like, how am I showing up? Or am I working out of fear and I'm working out of lack? I'm working out of insecurity. So that's kind of how I filter everything.
So one of the things I know, also to add on to that, from my perspective, is that when you have these ideas, if you are uncertain, bounce them off a mentor or a coach.
Yeah.
Christine bounces ideas off of me. I bounce ideas off of Andrew all the time. We all have mentors or people that we probably know the answer, but we need somebody else to reinforce that answer. And it's important. So get those people. Surround, like Christine said, surround yourself with people that are going to make you grow, not people that are going to take you down.
Yeah. And, you'd be surprised because I never thought some of the answers that I've gotten from my mentors, especially through the John Maxwell team, I never thought some of the answers that they tell me that I would have went through based on my old thinking. So you will be surprised as you grow and you discover, and this is all about raising your level of awareness and your consciousness. You can't see things always from where you are right now. In order for us to see more, we have to grow more.
Agreed.
Hey, Christine, here's a question from Phyllis. Phyllis asked, and I'll precursor this and say, you and I are obviously friends. Christine knows so much about what she thinks and what she's doing and her thought process, and is always willing to be a mentor in terms of where her mentality is. But you're also not perfect, right? We talk about some of the craziest things sometimes, and I always jokingly say I'm not an expert, but you ask me, I ask you more ridiculous questions ever than you ask me, I'm sure. But we talk like peers, and I mean sometimes mentor versus mentee. We're all peers in this, and that's something that everybody has to think about. But Phyllis had mentioned that she's a little bit overwhelmed in what she does day to day, and how can she be better, and she needs a mentor. So, if you have a staff and you're managing, what are some suggestions that you could get to sort of get at least from point A to point A minus if you're, trying to get in between a halfway point?
So, Phyllis, thank you for asking your question, first of all. But I will say that the more it seems overwhelming where you are now. And I can relate to that, and I can have a lot of empathy for where you are, because one, there's many times that I'm in that way as well. But I will tell you, and I will say this from knowing, not from anything other than doing and knowing, that those three things that I said to you, meditate, sit quiet, read, and journal. If I don't do those things in the morning, I'm confused. I am confused. There is a million thoughts running through my mind, and I can't figure them out. It's hectic.
Christine, I want you to do something. I went through this with you, right? So when the mold thing happened, your new salon, all those things. And I have to say that you are one of the, so first of all, Christine seems very vulnerable, and she is. And I don't mean that in a weak vulnerable. I mean, she's open. She's a real person, but she's also one of the strongest women I've ever met in my entire life. And I had the pleasure to coach her while she was going through the mold issue in the house, the new salon, all of those things. And I have to tell you, it was daunting to me. And not only as her coach, but because I'm a dear friend of hers, we're dear friends. And, you know, it's both ways. It's definitely a symbiotic relationship. And I think that I'm just amazed at who you are as a person. I have to say that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. What I do want to say is that I have, and for those of you that are out there, I know it is overwhelming. And Derek, you know, I'm not afraid to talk about, you know, team members that I've lost and challenges that I've had as a salon owner. And one of the things that I could say is that you can't go wrong investing in yourself. And that is my number one thing that I will definitely say is the chaos that you feel and the stress that you feel. It's if you invest in yourself and you invest in a coach, you invest in yourself to learn as a leader, and you invest in yourself to grow, you're going to see things from a different level of awareness that's going to give you the capability to handle things differently. It's just sometimes when you're not there, you can't see it yet.
You know, it's funny. Angela posted something in the Facebook group, and Christina and I worked on a charity project, Hair for Hurricanes. She had done one for Hurricane Sandy, and we replicated. That was for New Orleans, right?
That was for, in Texas.
Oh, and I mean, there's been so many. I mean, I'm not doing my sustainability thing for Earth Day and saying that things are crazy, just saying. But Angela brought up a good point that while you were going through all the mold issues and everything else, you still put on this really good harebrained teach-in with a cut-a-thon in Bellworks and this crazy thing. And you didn't break a sweat, man. You were just like, hey, things are crazy. And you just did one of those and you said, hey, it's going to be crazy whether I do this or not. But, you know, that's the thing is you're not, listen, concrete, right? It's breakable to a point, but not really, man. It's like you might have to change the name of these salons, baby.
Well, the name came from understanding that it's every great structure and everything that we do is built from a foundation. And so, you know, as I believe in a good foundation of haircutting and hair coloring, you know, the same with leadership. I really truly believe that that really your strength as a salon owner comes from good leadership.
Christine, I have to say two points I've learned also. I know this of you. I saw it last night in Patty. It's kind of amazing how, I'm going to say it flat out, the better owners, leaders have the same mentality. And a couple I've noticed is number one, change is a want, but if it requires action and a leap of faith to do it, right? You got to suppress the fear. You're so strong on that. I know that. Patty last night was so strong on that. It's fantastic. And the other thing is, it's okay to be you, but are you of the victim mentality, or are you the person that says, I'm not going to be the victim, I'm the person who's going to do the exact opposite? And there are so many strong leaders that know not to play the victim, but yet step out of that role. Can you talk to me about that just for a second? Because I know who you are as a person. So I want to hear it from your heart, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely don't play the victim card. That's for sure. I would say that the part of not playing that card is to strengthen these muscles that we talked about, because it's a default when you go into fear, you automatically sometimes become the victim. And unless you really work on your conscious awareness, and that's a learning, like I keep going back to saying it's like a muscle. It's like if you never did a bicep curl in your life, or you never worked out, you're not going to see definition. And it's really the same thing. So if you're really not working out your mind, and you really don't understand how it functions, and you really don't get a good grasp on how it is that you need to strengthen it, then you will default. You will be a victim, because that's where you're going to go right away. One of the things that I do a lot is, even in the salon, this past couple of years, I've worked on building a leadership team, and I will tell them, please, I'm struggling in this area. I'm having a really hard time. I need you to hold me accountable. If I'm acting a certain way, or I'm showing up a certain way, I want you to call me out as much as I'm going to call you out. And so I think that's really important to have in your environment, is to build that trust, so that when you show up a certain way, people they have this trust factor that they can tell you, and it's okay, because that's how you're going to grow.
Hey,
So it's getting late. Do we have any more questions out of the group? Andrew, go ahead.
I just want to honor you, Christine, for sharing that with the group. That takes a tremendous amount of courage to show up that way with your team. So like that, to you, kudos. And on the chat, someone said, he was a little stuck with journaling. And perhaps we look at journaling, each one of us looks at journaling differently. Some people say, oh my God, a book of a tome. What is journaling, really?
Well, for me,
Mm-hmm.
and journaling is so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think the most important thing about all of this is there is no judgment. And if you have judgment with yourself around journaling, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of being authentic. Because first, in this process, you need to be 100% authentic with yourself before you can be authentic with your team or authentic with anybody else. So when you journal, it needs to be unconscious writing. So just write. Sometimes I could journal and I don't even make sense of what I say. It could be a couple days where that just comes out. And believe it or not, you're releasing stress. You're releasing, different thoughts. You're just blah, 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 blah. You need to get it out. So I would say, to refrain from judging yourself and just show up on the paper, however you may show up. And there is no right or wrong, or, trying to figure it out. I think the most important thing is we have to just be.
Mm-hmm.
In chaos comes great ideas sometimes, especially when you're journaling.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No, it was really
Thanks,
good, Christine. Lots of love on both sides, on Zoom and on Facebook. You're giving everybody great ideas, but I gave them your mailing address. So when they do these crazy journals, they're going to send them to you. So you can actually grade them, because obviously school needs teachers right now. So anybody that wants to send their journal to Christine, I'm going to give you her address in a private message, and she's going to, she's going very straightforward, like A, B, C, D. Nobody gets an F, so you'll be okay. But she's
Guys, definitely get on with Christine if you have an opportunity. Christine runs a lot of leadership seminars on a regular basis. Christine, which one would be the best one for them to get on some of your leadership seminars out of these that you have up right now?
I would say if they're interested in leadership on Facebook, go to Concrete Leadership. I just started that group so that it was just specifically for people that were interested. Or to the bottom site, the Concrete Education at My Kajabi. That is where I do all the online masterminds and leadership courses on there.
Beautiful. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This will be on replay. If you didn't get to see it all tonight, or you want to share it with friends, by all means, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Salon Ops, 2 words, and keep an eye on the group. Christine, it was a pleasure tonight. You know I love you, and just awesome.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I appreciate you guys staying on, and I appreciate what you and all of you are doing. Derek, I know, Andrew, Derek, James, I know what it takes to do what you guys are doing. And there's so much gratitude from the people I could see, and lots of gratitude from me, because I know what it takes, and you guys are really doing an amazing job. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm going to text you at 1:30 in the morning while you're sleeping.
Oh, yeah, she'll be sleeping, but she'll be up at 4:30 and then text you. Wise guy.
Wait, that's my bedtime. I'm usually in bed by 9. All right.
Good night, everybody. Have a great evening. Thank you.